like YouTube is live. Restream is happy. So we'll get going in just a second. Sorry for the background noise, but I will melt if I don't have the AC on. And it is right behind me. Okay. Let me know if you can see and hear me. Say hi in the chats. I'll get myself in live broadcast chat on Discord. A little, yeah, 2 minutes late. That's okay, I don't have a hard stop. All right, is anybody out there? Can you hear me? I think it's going. NetVentive, thank you. Hello, happy Friday. All right, let's get going now that NetVentive has said hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Scott, and I work on CircuitPython for Adafruit. What are those things? One, Adafruit is an open source hardware and software company based out of New York City. Adafruit designs little dev boards and systems for you to make things that you want to make. This is called an adalogger feather, and then on it plugs into an NRF54LM20-DK feather. So it's a little, these are called dev boards because they're meant for you to like write whatever software you want on them. This one happens to be Bluetooth low energy capable as well. And then so this feather form factor is standard, and then there's feather wings that you can plug into it, so you can do all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, all open source, open hardware. You can go find like the design Eagle files for things like this, in case you want to mash it up, understand how it works, or fix it, or change it, or something. And then CircuitPython is a version of Python, so it's software that runs on these little devices. They show up as a CircuitPy drive, or allow you to edit code.py wirelessly as well. Code.py is the core set of code that your code that you write to run on little tiny devices like that. Little microcontrollers, little tiny computers that can just do whatever you want to do. They can be a keyboard, they could be a mouse, they could be, I was going to say Bluetooth headphones, but that's not yet. Making lights blink on and off, making cool RGB patterns, that sort of stuff is all fair game for what CircuitPython could do on little microcontrollers. So this is Deep Dive. I do this pretty much every week, unless I'm out or have a sick kid. And it's a chance for me to show what I've been working on for CircuitPython, and also I answer any questions folks have. We do about an hour, and I'll show off what I'm doing. But if you have questions about CircuitPython or electronics, I'll do my best to answer those questions as well. The other housekeeping, next week, a week from now, is CircuitPython Day. So we'll have, I think, a day full of streams, and I've been meaning to look at the schedule. A day full of streams, including a deep dive, I think, where we'll, I don't know, I was trying to think of what I could do special for that. So if you have ideas for a special CircuitPython Day deep dive, let me know. And yeah, so that'll be next week. And I'm right around 10 years working for Adafruit, which is wild. So that'll occur between now and then, which is, yeah, so wild to me that I've worked on what is essentially, it wasn't called CircuitPython until like I don't know, 6 months in or something. But I basically started working on it 10 years ago, working on MicroPython and the version of MicroPython that would become CircuitPython 10 years ago. The other piece of housekeeping is we have two chats over here. This middle one is the Discord chat. So Adafruit has a Discord server. It's quite old too, not 10 years old, but maybe like 7. It's been great because it is a chat service, a chat server that lasts all day, every day. It doesn't disappear like the YouTube chats or the Twitch chats. So if you want to join that, you can go to the URL adafru.it/discord. Any questions? Any topics before I get going? I doubt it. So my focus has been, and I'll switch to a question if I see it, we're definitely in this moment of like everybody's traveling before school starts here in North America. So yeah, might be a little quiet here. I was out most of the week camping with my family, which was fun, but I'm back for yesterday and today. So what have I been working on? I've been getting back into Zephyr because we are wanting to get some new boards out, and we need CircuitPython working on that new stuff that we're excited about. So I've been particularly working on the. I'll show one of this. So this is what if you want a dev kit from the manufacturer. Here's an example of the new Nordic NRF54 LM20. So this is like 2 generations newer than the Nordic chip I showed earlier. It's got twice the RAM, twice as fast, and can do things like BLE audio, which is super cool. So Zephyr is the way that we're supporting this in CircuitPython. Zephyr is like a vendor neutral. I like hurt my back camping, so I'm like, I'm feeling the 40 years. So these are great because these vendor dev boards are usually made available really early on in a chip's lifecycle. You know it's real because they can give you a dev kit. Don't get too excited about any chip you can't actually buy. But these will usually come out before other people's versions. So this is what we typically start on for CircuitPython support, and then once we can get the chips ourselves, we will make Adafruit specific development boards, like in Feather form factors, for example. So this is what I'm using right now to get CircuitPython running on the NRF54 LM20. And the goal that we've been doing is we kind of laid out a roadmap for what we want to do to get this kind of production ready. And I got BLE GATT working. So last week I was talking about this. GAP is the process of doing connections. GATT is the process of like sharing data across the connection. The GATT stuff got checked in, which is great. And then the next step after that was pairing and bonding, which, if I remember right, maybe I did on the stream. So I finished that up. I got a review just back from Dan. There's like one comment that needs to be rephrased. So we should be able to get that in on Monday. And then the other thing that I wanted that was on the list was, so it's GATT, bonding, and then BLE Workflow. So the BLE Workflow is something that we came up with years ago now, which is the idea that I explained CircuitPy. So there's a file system on these little tiny computers or on these boards. Sometimes the file system is not actually on the chip itself, and this is not actually the chip. Sorry, this is the chip, and then there's a flash chip here. So this is where the like actual file system, CircuitPy file system, lives. And USB is the typical way that you would edit that. But we added other ways of doing it. We added ways of doing it over the network using web workflow, and we also added BLE Workflow. We added BLE Workflow first. I've had this goal for a long, long time of having CircuitPython programming from your phone really easy, which I am like getting close to getting back to. But part of that was this API for editing files and seeing output over the Bluetooth Low Energy connection. So what I just started right before the stream was actually trying to get that going, and we'll take a look at that. The other thing that I did do offhand, because I'm a little ahead of schedule. There's some of the later tasks in kind of our roadmap are much bigger, much more uncertain, and so they may take longer. In particular, figuring out how to do like I2C on any pin that can actually make it work. That's a tricky one. The other tricky one is BLE audio. So I'm a little ahead of schedule, and one thing I did want to add to this was USB HID support. So being able to have Zephyr act as a mouse or keyboard or gamepad, stuff like that. And so I was actually working on that this afternoon as well, and I did just get it working, which is always really fun because I have like a code.py that moves the mouse. using absolute mouse movements, and like I'm switching back and forth getting things done, and it worked, and now my mouse moved on me, and it was kind of annoying. So that is to say, one thing I'm looking forward to is having BLE Workflow and HID working. So I can plug a board into a computer I want to control using HID and edit my code.py over BLE instead. I was trying to go down this route for dual USBs, and I still think that's kind of interesting. So you could actually have, you could be two USB devices at once. One is your like code CircuitPy and your like serial REPL connection, and then on the second USB device, you could do all the things that are like about control. I still think that would be cool too. Basically splitting apart our USB descriptors and into two devices. But I think it actually, the BLE workflow gets the same result where your workflow is not associated with your USB. And it means that I'm kind of working towards this common goal that we have more broadly. I'll just mention the reason that I want to do that is I have a project that is a personal project, but I want to scan, I have these old microfilm reels that have old newspapers on them that I can't find scanned online. And I borrowed them from the library, but I actually have to go to the library to get them. And I wanted to do bulk scanning. And I went there and I saw that there is an auto scanning function, but it's actually smarter than it should be, because it's trying to align like to the pages that are captured on the microfilm. Whereas what I want is I actually want just like overlapping images of the entire roll of film, and then I'll cut it and do it later. And the way that I realized I could do that is actually by using CircuitPython to mimic the mouse movements that are needed, mouse movements and keyboard inputs that are needed to actually do that scanning. Because their auto scan is too smart, which means it fails. It's too smart because it fails. Or like it's only designed for very specific types of auto scans. And that's doesn't work for the microfilm that I actually want scanned. Okay, that was a lot. So I have 2 threads going on right now. Well, 3. GATT is checked in. Pairing and bonding is out for review and just got back from Dan. I just started enabling BLE Workflow on top of that. And I have USB HID close. So I kind of want to do that. That's what I've got pulled up here. So if we go switch to my desktop, I realized that I have multiple CircuitPython work trees. So we're out in left field here. Just some name I came up with. And I was trying to do a West update to make sure that everything is to sync. And I actually have some changes here that I need to undo. So I need to change to Zephyr and get status, get diff. Ah, this is something that it just fixed. But I don't want that. Now I need to do an update again. I was like, I don't get it. This should be fixed. So any questions folks have, please drop them in the chats. I'm mostly watching YouTube and Discord. So we'll get everything up to date here. I must have like tried the USB HID stuff before the Zephyr update came in. I've also got, this is the state of the BLE workflow. Okay, so it rejiggered how advertising works. Okay. Now a thin wrapper around, that's good. Add a new bsim test for the BLE workflow by validating advertising. Status LED blinks. Advertising. So we'll let that go. I might run up against my LLM usage. I've got 2 separate subscriptions. I was using DeepSeek V4 Pro, but they came out with a new version, and the new version's hosted in China, and I didn't want to enable that, so I'm trying GLM52 today, which is a little bit more costly on the token usage. Okay, HAL STM32 failed to update, which I think is under modules. I don't think we should need that. So let's do the West update now. Make sure everything works. All right. So what I was doing is, because I tested it and it worked, now I actually have to just make sure that everything is up to date and that all the builds build. So I have make clean all, and then I can do a make all if I type it right. And it will build everything for me. So now this other one, I'm switching between the two. So for USB HID, we are running, oh, we still failed. Failed really fast. That, and then we'll see how we're doing on the BLE workflow. I really do, Dan's running down some bugs with the BLE workflow, and I want to start using the Nordic or the Zephyr bsim stuff to validate that the BLE workflow works, so that we can make sure it doesn't regress further. So that's largely what I'm going to be doing next week is doing the BLE workflow stuff. And then I think, the other thing I have to do is the bootloader things, and that's going to be a bigger project as well. We're going to figure out like the exact flash partitioning layout and stuff. I've started doing it, but we wanted to get to the point where we had test builds for the LM20 and decided that that wasn't the top priority. Getting everything on flash exactly where we want it wasn't top priority right now. I'm curious to see why this PicoW failed so fast. I found earlier, I think, that I think the get command that we're using to get the version string actually is running a network call, and the network call can fail, which is super silly. Added a new bsim BLE workflow test. It validates the foundational step of peripheral workflow end-to-end bsim. The status LED blinks while the device is concurrently advertising. bsim boards don't have onboard LEDs. Drives a free GPIO as a status LED. Oh. Okay. Yeah, see, this is cheating. So the way that the BLE workflow is supposed to work is that you start up, if you're bonded, so if you've connected to something previously, it will just advertise privately in a way that only that device will know who you are and what it's doing. Otherwise, you'll enter into this like public advertising mode, but you have to do that by pressing the button when it's fast blinking. This is so that you're not like always in this mode of bonding and pairing. It's kind of like a discoverable mode. And so that's kind of like the first step that I want to see tested here. Again, I'm not going to finish the BLE workflow stuff today, but it's a start. I'm hoping we can go pretty quick through it. USB HID, I bet we could get out the door as a PR today, and I should be able to get the feedback from Dan addressed as well, so that we can get pairing and bonding in soon too. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I bet this one failure was a network failure. I know this looks like it's taking a long time, but it is running a lot concurrently. If I look at my CPU speed, I'm like in the 98th percentile. I am saturating my CPU here. It's using, I think like I said before, it's using a shared job server. So it's building 27 boards concurrently, and they're sharing 32 jobs worth of building time, which is handy because a lot of the build is single-threaded. So they can all get through that first single-threaded stage at the same time, and then they've got to kind of like share the multi-threaded part at the end. But yeah, has anybody watching used BLE Workflow before? You have any experience with it? We spent some time doing apps for it, and they I've not actually tried them recently. You can also use code.circuitpython.org with it, which is kind of where I'm gonna start once I have it going. But I'm curious how folks are finding it. Dan's been looking at fixes for BLE Workflow as well. So next week is really BLE Workflow week, more broadly. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see, it's still working on the boot button and the LED thing. But tests are good. Simulator tests are good. I want to get the same tests working from the simulator also working on real hardware, which will go which we'll get going. So I did get some circuit boards back, and I went to the makerspace yesterday. Here's one. This is just an adapter board. So this is an older LM20 board, and this adapter board is so that I can stick it onto, this is an old hardware in the loop board, but that's what they look like. So this is the hardware in the loop harness, and this adapter board allows the LM20 to be sat on top of the hardware loop board, like so, like a big sandwich. USBs are on this side, so it's not all of the I/O that the LM20 has. The LM20 actually has a lot of I/O, which is great, but it could test a bunch of it. So when I get back to hardware in the loop, now we can get the LM20 in here. I intend on having two of them set up so that they can Bluetooth to each other just like native sim would, which will be interesting. And then I did get a second adapter board based on the T-cobbler, and unfortunately it's not quite good enough. So the other boards one other board that I'm interested in is the ESP32S31. and we're coming back with success, which is great. So the S31 boards kind of look like this. This is one of the latest ESP32s. This mashes up the ESP32S3 with the ESP32P4 basically, which is super exciting, and it has Bluetooth Classic as well. So BLE audio is a cool target for these two. So I have this kind of like originally T-cobbler, but then I rerouted a few of the pins that were shared, so none of them are shared. And then I was like, okay, great, it goes like this. And so the USBs line up, but unfortunately, the T part of the cobbler runs into the network jack there. So I've got to like shift this way and reroute it. So that's a bit of a bummer. I could like lightly press it in, and maybe that's good enough to start, but I'm like, yeah, I need to shift it over a little bit so it has the clearance it needs, unfortunately, but that's low priority. I've got other stuff I should actually order from JLC. I got the Gameboy PCBs back as well, but I've not tried the latest rev. Let's do this. Again, I'm trying to like go heads down. I'm trying to be heads down on this LM20 stuff until we're to the point where we're like, okay, Zephyr's in good enough shape to actually ship products with. Looks like it's going. I don't know what was the problem for a little bit here. I think this is going to be ready to go. All right, it worked. Okay, so let's just push this. So it is in CircuitPython left field. We have these auto-gen files. So this is a diff viewer. This is Sublime merge. And I like this for knowing what's happening. So one thing that's going to happen is that all of these boards that used to have it disabled will now have it enabled. So we can stage USB HID support. You can see that we don't have MIDI or video. I don't know what it would take for that. I have another change that does this as well. So maybe we can discard it. I'm going to discard it because it's unrelated. And then all these HID enablements, I'm going to stage because that's what my code is doing. There's a print K here that I want to remove. This is a diff from an earlier version of it. I'm a little surprised it compiled, actually, but print K must be included in this already. This we're going to discard. These two we're going to discard. And then the print Ks in here, I do want to just get rid of. Okay. So one thing I noticed is that the test demo for the Absolute mouse was hanging, and it turns out that it had code to hang until USB was connected. And so this here is actually making the USB detection work. We can see here that that's fine. I think those print Ks match other print Ks. Okay. That looks good. And then just the print Ks in here I want to get rid of. Which the easy way would be to just, on here. Move the K's pending changes. Clean up any variables added to print. I'm a little worried that if it does this, it's going to do it in a way that's not correct. I'll just do it. Let's just do a new window. And add folder. I do wish I was able to edit inline in Sublime Merge. Let's see, where was that? Port Zephyr, Common Hell, USB hid, and net. I was going the right direction. And now we can say print K. And Z's, so I'm holding Alt, and this is Z. I do like that Z's auto, it's LLM magic complete stuff can figure out what to delete. Sure, yeah, added the equals 0. Let's see how we're going to do here. Yep. That's what I want. So now let's look at the merge. And there is, did it get updated? No. There we go. Generally, I find LLM comments to be too verbose. So I should look at that as well. Let's just take a look at what comments it's adding. Let's make this go away. I just was listening to a podcast from the Z devs. Oh, I'm not looking at the right thing. I was just listening to a podcast from the Z devs, and they've got something new. Union. That's annoying. Like, that's a weird way to do it. I would. Zephyr seems nice. I've been happy with Zephyr. I was talking last week with the person from, I think, who works for Espresso, and they're working on the ESP32P4, and I'm very excited for being able to manage multiple cores with Zephyr. I think that's going to be really cool. Strip deleting ID byte. I think those comments actually are fine. The one change I wanted to do was see, this is like 6 sentences when the report descriptor uses report IDs, the on-wire interrupt must be prefixed with a report byte. I would just say send ID 0 without. Then here, I wish it was, I don't want a union. Like, I don't want that. What I want is like a in report lengths is a uint 8. So 256 bytes covers the max data plus one ID. So what you actually want is a uint 32T report buffer and it's, let's see what all it says. No, it's not one long. 256 divided by the size of a unit 32. We could even say size T. Size T is the size of a void pointer, I believe. Unit 32, make sure the buffer is size T. There's a world where it's like a 32-bit buffer. If the length plus U is greater than the size of report buffer. That's like a check that shouldn't be. Yeah, this is kind of silly. If we know the length, we can just do 1 plus the length. Now this will truncate, so we probably want to do plus the size of size T. So that'll cause it to round up. And then the actual length that is sent is here. But then we don't need this check. And then we can say report buffer. So now this is a little weird. I think we could probably say, instead of being weird like this, we just do 1 plus the length. I'm trying to think of like what the cleanest thing is, right? What we want is a uint 8, and then we want it attribute aligned. There, that looks right. I'm assuming it's right. And then, yeah, we want report buffer. We want the address of the report buffer. One. And yes, we want that updated too. I do like Z for this reason. So in the first slot, we put the report ID, and then we copy the rest of the report. So this is an artifact, and the LLM found this, where in TinyUSB handles prefixing the HID report with the report ID. Zephyr does not do that, so this is our code having to do that for us. So let's just make it and flash it again. And we'll see if my mouse moves. It's still plugged in. And let's see, my mouse is here on screen. And I don't think I have it. I don't have a dolphin open at all. Yeah, my CircuitPy is not mounted. So it should, uh-oh. I've reached my session usage limit. But this should, when the flash happens, it should disconnect and redo here. I'm using the same board to test both, that's why it's in my other tab. I guess it's kind of good I was not doing. You should see it should disconnect. There it is. Now it's coming back and it's moving my mouse. I moved it all the way down, moved it off screen. I don't know where it is. Oh, it's up in Slack now. So it did move it. So it still does work. And now we can just stage this thing. Okay, now we got a bunch of staged files, and we're going to git commit amend. Da 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 da. This went pretty quick. Implement and enable USB HID on Zephyr. I'm trying to think if there's an issue for it, but it's pretty straightforward. Okay. Let's make sure we're based on something new. Yeah, we are on the latest, so let's just push. And I bet we'll have to force release. Yeah. So this is saying, like, force push it, but make sure I have the latest version myself. And now let's get a browser window going here. And make a PR. And we'll request Dan on that. We should pass the build. We don't have native sim test, so we haven't gotten USB working in native sim yet, which I would like to do. You can have it do. Why did it move where it was? I don't know why that changed. What happens if I do a second make translate? One thing I'm trying to do is make sure that I don't have a bunch of spurious changes in it. If I do that again, do I get changes? I do get this, and I get this, and I get this. But I don't get any changes related to the thing that's weird. I think that's right. Like this being deleted. It's okay. And then it's a bunch of just enabling it. Keyboard report descriptor. Mouse. Okay. So why are these? I have not looked at all of this, so I need to review more of this. That's okay. Those are descriptors we might get from TinyUSB. In fact, that's my guess, is that keyboard Let's just ask the LLM. I think that's right. It's funny. It's telling me to upgrade for higher limits, but I can't actually upgrade because I'm on the pro tier, but they're not letting anybody into their max tier. I think that I was thinking about what. Let's just try V4 Flash on Oak. I think this. Even the V4 Flash has that constraint, huh? GLM53, that's what happens with the DeepSeek V4. It must be going through OpenCode router. I wonder if that's true for 3.8 Max as well. Nope. 3.8 Max is giving me something. I don't know when my Olama use resets. I have it off screen here. 2 hours. 2 hours until Olama resets. My weekly usage is 35% and resets in 2 days. I wish OpenCode Go would tell me my weekly usage there resets in 2 days and it's 78%. I'm gonna hit my monthly usage because it's 52% and I have 21 days left. So I'm gonna have to figure out what my plan is. We're getting some more subscription tokens. I may have to go back to Claude. I have a little bit of Claude FOMO. You know, I could also try using my framework for some of this stuff too. The other version lives in shared module, and its first subset include is yes. I do want to refactor that because I don't want to have to do them both places. It doesn't make sense to have 2 spots. What are folks using for LLMs? It's funny, I'm like resisting being on a subscription, or I'm resisting being on the heavily subsidized subscriptions, but like I didn't work 3 days this week, so I might have to dust off Claude if I can't find other subscriptions. There was one other subscription-based one that was like pretty specific, and I'm forgetting the name of the company that had it. But ideally, I'd be on a subscription for open models. I was thinking I would upgrade to Olama Max, which is like $100 a month, but they don't currently let you do that, which is unfortunate. It is interesting to see how these different models perform. There have been some interesting smaller local models too. See how it does. Struggling a little bit. This one's out of use. I don't think my I don't have the latest. I don't have the latest DS4 running right now on my framework desktop, so I could switch to like Gemma 4, but it would. I'm not sure how good it is for the size that it's going. Oh, it's struggling a little bit. I reached my usage limit. I'm doing the boot button stuff. I'm gonna have to figure out a plan. I could pay per token. That might be the best option. It's kind of expensive. But I do like the principle of it, of like actually paying for what it costs is a good thing. It's also gives me more motivation to like have my framework desktop going as a backup. And they do there is a newer version of DeepSeek V4 Flash that can run on that. That should work better. It's still gonna be slow, but it should work better. I don't even know what this is doing. What are you trying to do? It's thinking, so this is Qwen 3.8 Max. So one thing I was looking at is this chart. So this is for OpenCode Go. They have this chart of like how much usage you have of everything. So like DeepSeek V4 Flash, you get a lot of usage out of. But again, like I don't have the China hosted models. OpenCode must be passing it through to OpenRouter, which is then just passing it on to like the main Chinese hosts. Which in theory, I'd love it if like it was like hosted in a data center that wasn't powered by a gas thing. So I don't know. Is this up? Yeah, so we have Gemma going. I don't think just anybody can see this. I don't know if there's anything worth trying besides DeepSeek 4. Nemotron 3 Nano. Did I just get an email about that? I got an email about one of these. Lemonade is pretty good for trying different models, except like the DS4 stuff is like very specific. Yeah. Okay, so it's working on factoring that out. It's still going. It is doing the right build command. Let's take a look at what the change actually was. So, yep, it's deleted it, and now it's including report descriptors, which is great. They also don't need to be static. Oh yeah, they are like straight taken from there. So this is definitely the right thing to do. Just make them not static. It's fine. But they're static in here. Just make them not static. Okay. otherwise I'm not directly watching YouTube. Captain Codon says, what's your aversion to using subsidized plans? I think my aversion to it is that it's very much in the vein of what lots of big tech used to do, which is subsidize it to get people in and kind of like get them used to your ecosystem and capture them and then raise the prices. So like, I really don't like that approach of like subsidize it and get everybody hooked, and then like, and like Facebook and Twitter have this problem that you have like all these network effects, right? But like basically subsidize to get everybody in and then make it hard to escape afterwards. And like the Claude ecosystem is a bit of all this. So I really would like to like keep myself in the like world where I'm using my own tools that like I can switch. Like the idea that I can switch from the OpenCode Go subscription, which is $10 a month, to the Ollama Cloud subscription, which is $20 a month, and like still use all the same tools and have the same history and stuff is really nice. So yeah, I guess that's what I would say is like the subsidized plans are misleading, and and then there's a couple other things that I'd like to do. Like I like the OpenCode Go and the Ollama ones because I'm supporting people that have an interest in open models, whereas like not only is Anthropic and OpenAI trying to capture you into their tooling ecosystem, they're also trying to capture you into their models that they're not going to make available to you generally. So there's that. And then, yeah, it's just like, I would like to support people that they're doing it more open than what the big tech folks are doing. And then on top of that, there's also there's all these stories about these big AI data centers being made with their own generators that are powered by gas turbines and stuff. And I'm just like, like, if you're going to save the world with this technology, then why are you doing something we know is bad for the Earth? If your technology is so good, why can't it come up with a way to power itself using carbon-free methods? Which is why I got the framework box, and so that's making me actually want to dust that off a bit and start using it more now that I've hit my limits. So in fact, maybe I'll just do that. I can do that on the stream too. At Clinker. Yeah, on that tail scale. I don't think you can see that. See that all right. I'm logging in off screen. And now I can go to DS4 and get pull. And then I forget what the build command is. Make clean. Looks like it's going. And I wonder if there's a way to do the new weights as well. I would be keen on doing that. I do have to turn Lemonade off if I'm doing the DS4 stuff. This is still going. Header gets extra in decals, and then the new C gets the definitions. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's... Need to be in the new one. I guess that's fine. This one's Qwen 3.8 Max is a little slow through OpenCode Go because my Ollama, I hit my session limit on Ollama Cloud. In OpenCode Go, I just reset my 5-hour window. And then for here, this is GitHub anti-res. Let's see if there's DSpark speculative decoding. on Rockham, which is nice. I guess I don't know what dspark is. I've not actually tried Claude Fable, so maybe I should just do a $20 plan. Although the $20 plan I can't use with Pi, right? Because they've restricted it. Download one main model. I can't do the Pro one. What model does it download if I do this? Does it download the one I have? No. These are the new weights. Sweet. This, I think, this red error is Pi's edit tool being like, you're not being precise about this. Okay, I just realized I'm at my hour mark. Are there any final questions from folks? Doesn't Olama have the same data center issue? Yes, it does. Both Olama and OpenCode are not super clear about where they are. Captain Kono says, I imagine the framework, or really anything locally hosted, is even less power efficient than the cloud offerings. Maybe. I think the Ryzen ones are pretty are pretty efficient, but the thing that I am able to control is that in Seattle I have clean energy. Like, it's mostly hydropower. So even if I use more power, I'm using clean power, not dirty power. And I was looking into doing solar panels as well. Not for here, but for my house. But yes, I know you get like scale of power efficiency. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm like, Olama and OpenCode, even if they end up on the same cloud infrastructure, are still better than Anthropic because they're not trying to lock you in, right? Whereas, I mean, I should be trying Anthropic because they are definitely like one of the better models still, but I don't want to get locked in. I don't want to get locked in, and I want to support the people that are not trying to lock you in and trying to keep that as a viable option. And so yeah. Thank you, everybody. This has been another deep dive. I hope that it was somewhat interesting to you. I'm excited for all the Zephyr work to come to fruition. I'm going to do some searching and figure out if there's another subscription plan I can join. I'm not actually super concerned about which model I'm using. And so I'm trying to remember. I have the Discord of some other, like, one inference provider that has a plan that could be good. And they just say, like, they have one specific model that they run for coding that they have under a subscription, and then everything else is like API token or token-based stuff. Okay, that's it. I should be here next week for CircuitPython Day to talk about 10 years of CircuitPython. Maybe that's what I should do, 10 years of CircuitPython. I was thinking about doing a SuperCon talk too. Maybe I should propose doing 10 years of CircuitPython as well. I don't feel like I've seen a real retrospective on that, so I think I will do that. Like, I'm not sure I have one place that actually says like what year every release came out and what was important about it, and so yeah, maybe I'll do that. If that's interesting, you can find me on Discord and let me know that you'd like to see that. I'm on the Discord. You can join the Discord by going to the URL adafru.it/discord. If you want to support me and Adafruit, you can go to the adafruit.com and purchase hardware there. We're going to have some neat stuff coming soon, and get the web workflow polished up and really prototyping and experimenting with that as well. So yeah, Thanks a lot. I'll see you next week, and I'll see you on Discord before then. Here is the window. A little hazy day. We had clouds this morning from the ocean, and it looks a little smoky to me now. So, yeah. All right, have a good one, everybody.